Join Savannah Mayor Van Johnson for his weekly update about COVID-19, how the city of Savannah is reacting to it, and other city business he wishes to discuss. Let's listen in.
And thank you for joining me today. This morning, I have an attitude of gratitude. As hard and as difficult, as challenging as these times are and have been here, we are grateful that we're not as bad as we could be. And for that, I am grateful. For some 177 days, we have lived with the words COVID-19 in our vocabulary. For 25 weeks and 2 days, and I'm not counting, but Savannahans have lived under the most extraordinary of circumstances, from stay-at-home orders to dramatic shifts in the way we communicate, in the way we move around, in the way we work, and in the way we worship, and in the way we play. Team Savannah, our citizens, our faith community, our educational system, our business community, and our city council have all stood up to the challenge. Our community has come together in unprecedented ways. People reaching out and reaching across, reaching up and reaching down to help, to be a blessing, to fill gaps, to be a good neighbor. And so I'm grateful for Savannahans showing Savannah love. And that makes us Savannah strong. Our city has led the state in mandating masks in the public space, and last week, unbeknownst to us, our Coastal Health District gave some positive indications that our mask mandate is working. Chatham County's case rate dropped by more than half over a 1-month span, and the transmission index has dropped significantly as well. We were looking at triple digits, and now we're looking at double digits. And we'll take what we can get at this point. Dr. Davis indicated also that the local face mask orders issued this summer were a driving force behind a reduction in these statistics and other indications of the pandemic's waning impact in Chatham County. Chatham County's daily case rate per 100,000 and community transmission index down from last week from 28 to 20 and from 456 to 337 respectively. Now that being said, we're still a long way from where we need to be, but we are heading in the right direction. So thank you, thank you, thank you for keeping the faith. Thank you, thank you, thank you for following the science. And remember, Labor Day is coming, and we cannot afford to lose our intensity. We cannot afford to lose our drive. We cannot afford to lose our focus. Let us continue to wear our mask, to watch our distance, and to wash our hands. That being said, if you want to be a part of groundbreaking research that's happening here in Savannah, Meridian Clinical Research is still looking for participants for its COVID-19 vaccine study happening in Savannah. If you participate, you must be at least 18 years old, and you will receive an investigational COVID-19 vaccine or placebo at no cost. You may receive compensation for study-related time, and you do not need insurance to join this study. As a part of this study, Meridian is also seeking people who meet one of the following criteria: essential workers, such as healthcare workers, first responders, manufacturing or factory workers, and transit workers, basically people who are in regular contact with infected individuals. They're also looking for people with underlying health conditions, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, and asthma. They're looking for healthy individuals age 18 and older with no known history of COVID-19, and people 65 years of age and older. The testing in Savannah is happening at 340 Eisenhower Drive, Suite 1200, and you can talk to a Meridian enrollment specialist about the study by calling 912-623-2240. 912-623-2240. If you're interested, check them out. If you're not, then don't. To date, 94 city employees have tested positive for COVID-19, and as of today, 26 are still out waiting to return to work. Health experts continue to show evidence that wearing a face covering is one of the best ways to slow the spread of COVID-19, and so hopefully helping us to save lives. To clear up any confusion, masks are still required on trolleys, pedicabs, quadricycles, walking tours, horse-drawn vehicles that all operate in the public space. Our COVID-19 response team is activated, and they are busy around town making sure that the mask order is followed. This group of Savannah police officers and city marshals will ask you to put on your mask if you have one and offer you one if you do not. And in this first week, this team has given out more than 600 people free mask. Again, our goal here is compliance. Education is our primary focus. We want people to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And we're going to help you do the right thing. We want to give our residents and visitors ample opportunity to learn about Savannah's mask mandate and give them the opportunity to follow it. However, if someone refuses, then there are consequences for their willful refusal. Help continues to be available for Savannah residents with past due mortgages, rent, or utility bills through the United Way of the Coastal Empire. If you remember, the City Council approved the plan to allocate $3.3 million to the United Way to help pay balances accrued from March through August due to loss of income directly related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Understandably, the response has been overwhelming. A lot of people very interested in this program. However, some rules definitely apply. You have to live in the city of Savannah. And we've been amazed at the people that were called that didn't realize that they did not live within the corporate limits of the city of Savannah. The other thing is that the loss has to be directly attributable to COVID-19, March through August. And I think that's caused a lot of consternation because people saying, I need help. And we understand they need help. But this funding stipulates that money has to be used for COVID-19, losses incurred because of COVID-19. And in order for us to continue to receive money from the state and the federal government, we have to document that. So there are some people that we wish we could help. We've been unable to help, but we're hoping that for us providing this funding, that this might clear up some funds for some of these nonprofits that they have otherwise to be able to help some of these folks. Also, as I understand it, Chatham County has designated some money to go to the United Way, and hopefully some of those folks can be helped in that way. We've had more than 1,100 calls to United Way's 211 line. We have more than 983 CARES applications completed through the online Family Promise portal. We have more than 343 CARES applications representing nearly 800 individuals in Savannah, completed and paid via Family Promise and United Way of the Coastal Empire. More than 377 CARES applications are awaiting additional documentation. $174,226 of CARES money has been spent to date, with 78,337 outstanding funds and waiting to be processed. This is just fantastic work by committed folks around our community to really deal with this volume of calls. These funds have also found their way directly to Savannah residents with pending evictions in the Chatham County Magistrate Court, and so 24 evictions were prevented because of these funds. 24 people are still in their homes because of these funds. City staff is currently negotiating with other local agencies to create memorandums of understanding to ensure that more hands are on the plow to assist Savannahans during these exceedingly difficult times. And the benchmark for that is that the agencies have to have the capacity and have to have the wherewithal to make sure that we're able to maintain the requirements as stipulated by the federal and state governments. So that is an ongoing process, and I thank the city manager and Team Savannah for helping to continue to find more partners to come on and help. We remind everyone if they need more information or need to talk to a specialist, call 211 Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. And you can also apply online by going to savannahga.gov/CARES Act. savannahga.gov/CARES Act. Likewise, the City of Savannah and the Small Business Assistance Corporation has had an overwhelming response from local businesses applying for CARES Act funding. In the first round of grants, we were able to help 42 Savannah businesses with grants up to $50,000. 42 businesses. Of the 42 businesses, the beneficiaries concluded 14 women-owned businesses, 11 minority-owned businesses, and 6 veteran-owned businesses, all right here in the city of Savannah. The SBAC issued these grants on a first-in, first-out method. And admittedly, and in hindsight, most of these funds were distributed for COVID loan forgiveness, which meant that businesses that did not have the benefit or the opportunity to be able to secure a loan did not receive the best assistance that we can give. So while I'm happy that 42 local businesses received assistance, I believe that we can do better. And we can be more intentional in making sure that these funds are available on a more comprehensive basis. So I propose to the council through the city manager that we use our anticipated second round of CARES funding to create a second round of business assistance, specifically tailored to provide better diversity. Funds would be allocated in 25% categories, so 4 categories. The first one for CDBG distressed area businesses to better help neighborhood businesses. The second category will be for micro businesses, which are businesses with 5 employees or fewer. 3 is for minority-owned businesses, and the 4th is for general businesses. In addition, I propose that these grants be limited to $20,000 to help at least 80 more Savannah businesses to help spread that opportunity. So the blessing of all of this is that whereas we had proposed $2 million to help local businesses, and we did, with this second round of funding, we could have the opportunity now for $3.6 million in funding. And again, the 1.6 even more intentional, drilling down in areas that may not have had the funding or had the opportunity for funding before. All of this, of course, depends on the Phase 2 CARES Act 5001 funding. The state of Georgia has indicated that a second round of CARES Act funding for local governments based on the same criteria, which is population, as round 1 when the city received $7.56 million. So while we have no agreements in place as of yet, or no obligation by the state, we are expecting on that analysis to receive another $8.5 million. That portion dedicated to helping the small businesses, again, would add another $1.6 million that will become available. The state is not indicating a time frame, but best estimates would indicate that funding will be available before the end of September. So to that end, we want to be ready, we want to be prepared, and so businesses will be able to apply provisionally for the second round funding starting on September the 1st at sbacsav.com, sbacsav.com. We want businesses to make sure that we're ready. Our thoughts and prayers are with those who are being affected by Tropical Storm Marco and now Hurricane Laura. As a reminder, we are in the midst of hurricane season. With everything else we got going on, we are in the midst of hurricane season. And as you know, our most active times is September and October. So I strongly encourage you to think about this now. Please do not wait until the last minute. What will you do? Where will you go? What would you need? What about your loved ones? Are your insurances in order? We're asking you, please, ma'am, please, sirs, have a plan. Know what it is you're going to do before you have to do it. And as always, the deadline to complete the 2020 census is a little over a month from now. Funding for roads, bridges, hospitals, schools, and nutrition programs are just some of the projects that depend on the accurate count from the census. Make sure that your neighborhood and our city have what they need for the next 10 years. Census workers are collecting information in person and over the phone from those who have not filled out the census on their own. It's quick, easy, and your information is secure. The Census Bureau cannot share your responses with any other governmental agency. They do not care if you're behind on your car insurance. They don't care if you have a criminal record. They don't care if you are living with people that you're not related to. They do not care if you're supposed to have 3 people living in your house, but right now there happens to be 5. They just don't care. We want you to go to my2020census.gov or call 844-330-2020, 844-330-2020 to be counted. If you prefer to do it in Spanish, you can call 844-486-2020, 844-486-2020. Ladies and gentlemen, that ends my prepared comments, and I will answer any questions that you may have.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Quick question for you. You mentioned the two big resource team, the city marshals going on to the police department. As far as you know, have they issued any citations?
We have not. And again, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think, the interesting thing about that was the 600 masks they gave out was 600 opportunities for tickets or citations that had been avoided. Again, we're not trying to make money. We're not trying to hurt anybody. We just want people to do the right thing. So if they wear a mask and do the right thing, we're happy.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, ma'am.
My question for you this morning is, as you remain hopeful about the infection rate going down, what are your concerns when people hear that and they might think, we're good, we don't need to do anything more? What are your concerns about that, and obviously with the holiday weekend coming up?
Well, I think I stated that. I mean, I think in order to be transparent, we have to just say what we are. Our numbers are looking better. They're not great. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. And so I say that to encourage people that masks are worth it. Masks are working. To hopefully encourage those who have had so much opposition to wearing masks for them to get on board and wear the mask because it's moving the needle. And you can look comparatively to our district, our county as it relates to the rest of the state. We have masks and they did not. And so now we're able to show comparisons between Savannah, Chatham County, and these other places. Labor Day is coming up. It's been a long, rough summer for a whole lot of folks. And I know that we would want nothing more to just rip off our mask and run up and down River Street and live our best lives. But that's not going to be the case. We have to remain vigilant. We have to remain persistent. We have to continue to follow the science. And so it's a double-edged sword, but again, we want to be transparent. Our numbers are looking better, but it's because of the mask. If we don't, we will go right back to where we came from. And there are a lot more factors in play now. Our weather is improving, so to speak, in terms of the heat. It's becoming a little more seasonable. People are still visiting. And so, again, we want to make sure we keep our employees, make sure we keep our citizens and our visitors safe.
And my other question for you is, I know the deadline to spend that first chunk of the CARES Act is next Tuesday, actually, September 1st. Does the city have a lot more money to distribute? How is that looking? I know you don't want to have to give too much back to the state.
We're not giving any of it back. I think we've been able to find some means in which to be able to spend the money. And I think for us, and it's unfortunate because on one end you have, this blessing, and I call it a blessing because this is not money we had, it's money we got from the federal government through the state government. And so it's an opportunity for us to help people. And I think that we've been able, in a very short period of time, to at least put up a structure by means that we're able to get to money where it needs to be, and to have a structure for accountability. This is not free money where we just throw it out of City Hall's window for people who need it. We would love for it to be that, but no, there are accountability measures, strict accountability measures, that could affect our ability to get future money if we're not accounting for it in the right way. So, I want to make sure that people are clear that people are doing the best they can. We fully recognize that everybody has needs, but unfortunately, because of how the funds are structured, we will not be able to help everybody. And so, again, I just appreciate city staff and our nonprofit partners for helping us to do that on both the business side and on the personal side. In the end, because of this funding, people will be better than they were. Not everybody, but a whole lot of people. A whole lot of businesses will be able to keep their doors open. A whole lot of people will be able to stay in their homes. A whole lot of people will have lights and water. And so for us, I don't want to use this time, and I'm very careful, when you hear people criticizing, it's unfortunate. It is. But again, we accentuate the positive, we accentuate people are being helped, and we accentuate even recognizing once council approved this and it turned out it didn't go as deep as we wanted to, that we will have hopefully another opportunity to be much more intentional, drill down, and actually spend more money helping local businesses than we did initially anyway. So I count and joy.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, ma'am.
Plant Riverside started having entertainment on the weekends, which is wonderful because things that would be indoors are now in open air. But I spoke with the entertainment director who said sometimes hundreds of people are gathering there to watch the acts. Just curious if you've been in conversation with them at all of ways they can, maintain COVID-19 protocols during those outdoor performances.
I have not had any conversations with them. The expectation is that they will observe the protocols, particularly if it's at the new park, which is public space, it's owned by the city. And so I think maybe it'd be good for maybe the city manager, myself, the city attorney, and our COVID-19 response team to take in one of those concerts. What you doing Friday night, Pat? They will get together and we'll just go sit out there with our mask on and see what's going on. Thank you for letting us know.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
I want to start with the SBAC funding. Again, cap you're recommending is $20,000, up to $20,000 that businesses can apply for.
Now,
No, and the second round.
proposed is yes, 20,000.
Okay. I know there's been some criticism about the number of businesses that received that first round, the $2 million, and the location of them. Is there going to be a focus? I know you listed the 4 criteria that you'll be proposing for the second round. Will location, geography around the city, will that be a focus as well?
Yeah, the first one was about CDBG neighborhoods. which is specific areas throughout our city. The reality is this: the money is for Savannah businesses, and so people, I heard, and it was kind of a sad comment. It was just, businesses in 31401. 31401 goes from downtown, pretty far into town. It's not just downtown. So, I think, it was an unfortunate, uninformed comment, but the goal was to help Savannah businesses. When we help Savannah businesses, we're helping businesses that employ Savannaians. So again, we recognize that the first round went 1.6 or so, 1.6 went for loan forgiveness, and less than 400,000 went to businesses applying. So, you see, you learn, you fix. And so for us, I think drilling down in the quarter and breaking down in 4 quarters really is much more intentional. And then in that way, we're able to help businesses that also need that help that may not have gotten in there the first time. So, I mean, what do? We're learning this as we're going along. And again, to accentuate the positive was that we were able, through the city manager and Savannah team, to be able to be aware of this money and create an opportunity to help businesses, put this structure together, and make sure that we were able to move this money in a very short period of time. That's the positive stuff. And the positive stuff is that the city of Savannah has taken, I think, an extraordinary means of making sure that we're helping people directly to the tune of 80% of our allocation. Show me another municipality, show me another organization that's received that type of money that is at that level. 80% of those funds are going to help businesses. 80% of those funds are going to help people that are being evicted from their homes or utilities, or seeking foreclosure or facing foreclosure. So for us, I think we did well. We didn't do as well as I think we could have, and we'll do better.
I want to ask also, I spoke with Dr. Davis about the possibility of something similar to what the partnership with New York and the city had, the 2 new sites out in the communities where the hotspots are for COVID cases, and he said that they were working on coming up with a plan. Have you heard anything else on that, as far as opening up perhaps a community center for testing by appointment only, or any movement there?
Well, again, we have a great relationship with Dr. Davis and the Coastal Health District. I'll submit to you that part of the reason for Savannah's relative success has been because of our partnership, our trust, our faith, our confidence in Dr. Davis and what they've been able to do. We have a pattern that we saw worked with New York. And so we're willing to help as they need help. For us, we'll allow them to follow the science. We have the data. We know that it was very effective being in neighborhoods and working in neighborhoods. We also know that our volume in our Civic Center location, which is part of our partnership, again, remember we was at the Health Center, we brought it to the Civic Center, is working as well. So if there are hot spots or areas in which we need to focus on, we're more than willing to do what we can to help focus.
So no timeline or any plan?
No, we'll follow the science on them. So when they're ready for us, we're ready to help.
And last thing here, COVID related, but came to our attention over the weekend, and I know Alderwoman Linda O'Brien brought some attention to this as well, but some issues with the elevators at Stillwell Towers. And it's my understanding you've had a conversation also with the Housing Authority Director. What's come of that, and what role does the city have in finding solutions for the folks who live there when issues like this pop up?
Well, the city doesn't have much of a role. The Stillwell is owned by the Housing Authority of Savannah, which is a quasi-city federal partnership. Stillwell Towers is a 20-story building, and I don't think there are any 20-story buildings in this region. They have 3 elevators. 2 of them are for people, and 1 of them is for freight. The average life of of an elevator is about 25 years. These elevators are about 9 years old. They have, as I understand it, a lot of wear and tear from people using them a lot. And when you have that many people in and out of elevators, elevators break down. The concern is that there is nobody locally that can work on those elevators, those specific types of elevators. So they have to schedule those. So as I understood, one elevator was down, and the two were still working. They had another passenger elevator, and they activated their freight elevator to move people up and down. When there is an issue with an elevator, the Savannah Fire Department engages with the Housing Authority at Stillwell Towers, again, to make sure that people are safe. We offer our assistance any way we can get it. And when I was apprised of the situation, I contacted Mrs. Davis at the Housing Authority, again, offered our assistance. And I understand that they will be hosting elevator safety education for residents in the near future. And some of it, we understand, are things like the sensors on the doors. They'll close and people will knock them back off, and then it knocks it off. Everything is computerized now, and when it throws it off track, it's off track. The other issue is, I understand, with the push buttons for the floors. It's meant to be pushed with a hand, and oftentimes they become defective because maybe people are pushing them with canes. And so, again, that elevator computerized goes offline, and there's an issue. So I'm confident that they're on top of that. They are our citizens, so obviously we're concerned about them and what's going on with them. And so we will continue to monitor and provide assistance as appropriate. That being said, the same could be said for Savannah Summit. I kind of slipped by there within the last week to just kind of see what was going on over there as well. Again, the city does not own that. They have new owners. But I have been in contact with the new owners because we receive a lot of calls about things that are happening over there. And the new owners have committed to working to help to address these issues. They've been in contact with the residents there as well. So our role in this case, again, we just want to make sure that communication is happening, making sure that these concerns are heard. And, I'm pleased that people feel that the city can help. And so we'll accept that responsibility to be able to try to advocate what we can to help seek resolution.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Well, so it'll be a rainy day today. But again, it just reminds me that hurricane season is upon us. This has been a very active hurricane season, and we're almost running through the alphabet. And I understand once you get past the alphabet, you move to like the Greek alphabet. So we're just hoping and praying that with all we have going on, that we'll be spared any major disruptions as it relates to that, particularly in this COVID environment. So we appreciate you all, appreciate all that you do. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the city of Savannah. Thank you.
And you have been listening there to Savannah Mayor Van Johnson giving his weekly update regarding coronavirus and some other city business thrown in there as well, but mostly Corona today. He opened with what he called his attitude of gratitude. He says for the past 177 days, the word COVID-19 or the phrase COVID-19 has dominated people in Savannah's vocabularies. He said, though, that actually now we're starting to see a change in the number of cases in the county. He says over the past month, the infection rate, new cases has actually dropped considerably. And he says even health leaders, coastal health district leaders say that is because the mask mandate in place here in Savannah and now, of course, across Chatham County as a whole is working. He also, though, reminded people Labor Day is coming up, and he says it's important to keep your head in the game, to keep wearing that mask, to keep social distancing, and of course to keep your mind on the importance of beating this virus, keeping it from spreading. Other good news he talked about, he says, of course, the money that the city has right now, emergency COVID-19 funds that it is using much of to help people who have been affected by evictions or by mortgages they can't pay because they are not able to work right now. He says so far that money has helped keep 24 people from being evicted, and 42 different businesses also, he says, have managed to stay afloat because of money from those emergency funds the city is now helping disperse. If that money was not spent by September 1st, anything left the city was going to have to give back to the state. Johnson says that won't be the case, that money is well on its way to being used for these good purposes. And we will, as he put it, the city will not be giving any of it back to the state. He says people can still apply for help, apply through the United Way for some of these funds if they are affected with their mortgages and their rent not getting paid. But he says, here's the thing, it must be COVID-19 related, and you must be able to verify that to get access to those funds. He talked about another wave of money coming and how that even may be dispersed somewhat differently. But a lot going on here, a lot of people getting help, and still opportunities for people who need help to get it. So if you're in one of these situations, again, go to the reach out to United Way, reach out to the city of Savannah and see how you can get this much needed help, or even if there's another wave of money coming, how you might be able to get on a waiting list, perhaps to be in line for some of that second wave of funding. A lot of good information, a lot of positive information coming out of the mayor's update today. We will have this information shortly, if we don't already, on our website, WJCL.com, and we will have complete coverage of the mayor's remarks on our evening newscast starting at 5 p.m. today.